Well, I can flip you around and show you how I have prepared for my recording session. So I have a gigantic window. And so what I have had to do is put a thermal sheet over the window. And then down here, I have my couch cushions from my couch set back against the window so that when I speak, it doesn't reverberate off of anything. So that is how I've prepared for my makeshift little studio that I've got going on in here. It's been such a interesting and strange process, but we're making it work. Tried my closet out for a little bit, tried out some alternative spaces, and this seems to be the one that's working the best.
I've done voiceovers before, so I have a concept of how they work, and have long thought about building an at-home studio, and this opportunity gave me just that. So I had the microphone already there, and my husband is he tinkers, and so we have wood and things. So it was pretty easy to set up. I already have the desk. It wasn't a chore to get things together. So this is my setup. My husband wonderfully has pieces of scrap lumber hanging around. So we've got this board here that is set up. We literally just braced these mirrors here to hold it up because it was tipping over. There's a blanket there. It's connected with just some clamps. And over here is another piece of wood covered by another blanket that is, it's basically keeping the space that would normally be behind my desk solid. This is a pretty easy setup. I have my ring light over there to hold my phone. And there's my computer and my stuff. Simple rig, simple rig.
This room, I hope, our Zoom room feels very humane and artist forward of like, what do you need to do your best work? If that means turning off your screen, turn it off. So it's got its challenges, but I think we've been able to find a opportunity to lead with a kind of compassion that can sometimes be lost in some rooms. I think we're leaning into here.
It's an interesting difference with the Zoom platform, virtual platform. Though at one time it seems you're far away just because you're not sharing the same physical space. In another way, via the camera, it's somewhat even more intimate because you would be addressing a whole room, and like when I use speaker view, I only see the person that is speaking, and it's a very intimate exchange.
The biggest difference is not having the audience in that moment. But then there's this aspect of it being very much so centralized or focalized on the story. So you're not as much for those moments that some people have when they're experiencing a show and then they may be in recognition of the audience. It's impossible in this situation. Like, you're completely focused on what the work and the story and the truth of the art itself is, and that feels really good. But I very much so miss being able to feel the energy of the room and to be able to ride that wave in such a way. And also I miss being able to I feel like I had more freedom vocally in front of an audience. I'm having to like rein a lot of things in or figure out how to navigate things differently, which I've actually come to love a lot, because that helps if I want to continue moving into this direction of recording. Which
the brilliant thing for me as a stage actor is that I've always wanted to get an opportunity to do more of the little boxes. And so again, this is a brilliant opportunity to sort of play in a space that is far more contained and needs far less of you as a performer, and gives you the opportunity to give more of your sort of self as an artist, as opposed to the technique of getting the information out, which is different for the stage. It's athletic. It's an art sport. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to have, or at least you used to before this intervention of the mini microphone, you used to have to be able to fill the space. And so once you train yourself to do that, it's hard to train yourself out of it. And so this medium gives you an opportunity to do that. And I also get to control my environment, which is very nice.
It's been different in virtually every way that it can be different. To not be going into a rehearsal room and meeting your castmates and being able to like see, feel, and work off of each other in person is so strange, and was a little difficult to get used to. But I also am very pleased to find that there is still some of that available to you through the world of Zoom. Like, I'm very glad that I'm able to see my castmates. I'm very glad that I'm able to see facial expressions and like certain nuances that I would not be able to see if it was just vocal. I do enjoy being at home in some aspects. There's like some comfort, you know, there's no long days of rehearsal, and then I have to like come home. I'm like already home and ready to relax when rehearsal is done. So that's really cool. But other than that, I mean, I feel like every single aspect of recording remotely is different from doing a stage show. Initially, I was very taken about the story of the process of the the detusking of an elephant, and just like the series of people, and how many lives this trade touches, and also the themes of the consumption of Black bodies. I feel like are what sat with me the hardest and the longest, because the more that we read the scenes, the deeper that we got into them, the easier it was to see the parallels that Lynn has set up, to show the similarities of the consumption of the bodies of African elephants and the consumption of African bodies. And so I sat many evenings after rehearsal thinking about that theme, because we are also in the middle of a lot of racial unrest right now. So it just seems very apropos for the time.
It has changed my perspective. The play has changed my perspective and expounded upon what has already been there. In the ways of us being able to tap into something so not only poignant to what's going on right now, but also something so, like, there's such a visceral connection for me to this piece that it's really opened me up to what else that I might be able to do. And that's been exciting. I don't want to say too much about the story, but I want to say that the parallels to how we see and monetize things that seem so simple always carry much more weight than we recognize at a glance. And that has really affected the way I feel that I've been moving through the world lately. And even in these moments, like just the simplest things, like something could be frustrating for us, but really taking a moment to see, like, this is frustrating because of dot, 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 whatever it may be, is so deeply connected to all these other things. And if you spend more time thinking about what it is that you can give in return to what it is that's frustrating, then it can satiate a lot of not only the anguish that you experience, but also that someone else is experiencing.
Elephants throughout my life have been one of the spirits that I have loved most on this planet. They are majestic, and in other cultures, they are represented as gods, and I understand that they are just such family, social beings. To watch them when the birth of a baby is near, or when someone is hurt, or when someone is in trouble and they need to help them. They they are regal and majestic, and I have no idea what it's like when I watch video of people, you know, walking with them and working with them and writing on them and cleaning them and taking care of them, what that must be like. Because any being that's that much larger than me, I immediately feel very puny and weak and afraid. So I love watching people interact with elephants. And as far as what I would want people to take away from the play, that's always a tricky question for me, because you come into this communal space with your own lived experience, and so that influences how you receive what you receive that day. So it's hard for me to want them to have anything other than what they have in the moment. I would enjoy it if they enjoyed the time spent together. I maybe by hearing this, some people will be moved to consider certain kind of volunteer work or support or donation to help the elephants, because their population is dwindling. But all stories are can be seen in the literal way we see them, but also in the metaphorical way. So if you take elephant and just say soul and human, there's a lot in the story that applies to all of us, and we could learn lessons from.
One unwelcome surprise was after the first day of recording, I realized that my professional mic that I had been using was not the mic that was picking up. It was the mic from my headphones, which is a very terrible low quality mic. So all of the first day of recording for me was poop. And so that was like an exciting, well, an exciting surprise, but not pleasantly exciting, you know?
The room tone is the sound of the room. and I had to relocate a few times when we were recording. And there is one picture that people may have seen where I was sitting on the couch with a blanket over my head, and then I had two mic stands propping up the other side of the blanket. And I recorded in the little cubby of the couch for the entirety of our recording session. It's been an honor and a gift to just be able to share the Zoom with everyone. And I will say, like, a specific detail is Keith's voice is absolutely captivating. It's one of those rare voices. Like, I don't hear voices like that often. And it's not just his voice, it's the manner in which he moves through his voice. He has such a presence in every word that he speaks that I feel like it would be hard not to listen to the story. And on top of that, the amount of voices that are brought into fruition and breathed into these characters by the different players in this show is impressive. And magical in so many ways.
The thing that has blown me away, and I would say this is for all my collaborators, just rising to the task of doing something so incredibly similar to what we usually do, but also completely different. Everyone has shown up and put themselves fully into the work, even though there are so many tools that we usually use that we don't get to utilize. So I've been blown away by watching people that I've worked with on stage just flourish in this new world.
I enjoy the work, and so I enjoy the being and doing of it. And Reg Douglas is a big facilitator for that. And whatever room you happen to be in, I've known Reg for years. Whatever room he happens to be in, he makes it a welcoming room, a blessed room, a loving room that where he wants you to bring your whole self into the room. You don't have to edit and leave things out. He has you there for a reason, and he wants all of you to be present to each moment that happens in that room. It's a very generous and loving space that Reg creates, in whether it's virtually or live.